Bill Walsh, the famous Super Bowl winning coach a couple times over for the 49ers, said champions behave like champions before they are champions. Mm-hmm. And so we're looking for those people. We're trying to pull people up that demonstrate that willingness to learn, that want to be better, that are willing to give that discretionary effort, right, to win, to be, like you said, the system won't be optimized until you give it your all.
Yes.
So we're trying to find those people because, boy, that they are worth their weight in gold.
If not, it's going to be a very long.
Yeah.
Welcome to Enrich Your Empire with Richie Huffman, the ultimate podcast for entrepreneurship, impactful wealth building, and effective team leadership. It's time to enrich your business and create a lasting legacy. Let's get to work. Hey guys, so welcome back to Enrich Your Empire with Richie Huffman. Hope that everybody's year was a great year and you're off to a great start. My guest today with Chris Steer with Chris Steer LLC. Chris Steer has been a huge mentor of ours, has been a family advisor for a long time. Today we were actually able to sit down, reflect on 2025, the celebrations, some of the opportunities, and a new mindset going into 2026. This new mindset and these new strategies can be applied to business, also in your personal life. I hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, so welcome back to Enrich Your Empire with Richie Huffman. I'm here with Chris Steer LLC. Chris is a very, very good friend of mine, mentor, confidant, advisor, as I mentioned, all the above. Did I miss anything?
No, man.
Chris, I appreciate you being here. We actually just stepped out of a HWG strategy meeting, which is one of our latest companies, building real estate for early education programs. Right now we're focused on Celebrate, but making sure that Celebrate franchisees have the right real estate to operate. So.
Yeah. Well, and what a great opportunity coming right out of that meeting into this conversation. Because what I witnessed in there and was able to be a part of was some of what I have come to learn about how you've led and how you've built HFB. And some of the things that are transferable across all of your organizations.
Yeah.
And I saw that play out. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but that was a great primer for this conversation.
So let's do it. You know, the whole purpose of this podcast is for other entrepreneurs and business leaders to take away nuggets and for us to pour into them so they're better.
Yeah,
so let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. So let me ask this question first. You are a learner. That's one of the things that you and I have shared so many cool moments over the years around you being a learner. Some of the most significant takeaways that you had from 2025.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's not the big ones.
Yeah.
It's the constant little ones.
Right.
You know, as you mentioned, I'm a constant learner. I'm always looking for ways to better myself.
Yeah.
And that's a better husband. As you know, Dawn and I just spent 4 days in Puerto Rico with 7 other couples talking about how do we strengthen our relationship and our marriage. Yeah. So I'm constantly looking for that. And you guys have heard me say this a lot there's 5 things that I focus. So taking it from a lot of things to 5 simple things that are most important to me. Yeah. And I don't say simple because they're insignificant. They're what I thrive on. So my finance, my friends, my family, my fitness, and my faith. Thank you. And I pour into those. And I want to say one more thing before we get started. And I've been a calendar planner, and I've been a planner and a strategist for my entire life. And I just purchased the big ass calendar.
Let's go.
And it is a game changer.
Yeah, man.
I thought, really? Just a calendar? But having the big ass calendar and having it color coded to what is the five most important things to me, but putting colors behind those and then looking at the calendar, Chris, and saying, am I spending time where I want to spend time, or is there some gaps here that I'm not spending my time on? Yeah. It's been a game changer. So I got to plug the big ass calendar.
Absolutely. Jesse Itzler would thank you. Yeah.
I was like, really, a calendar? Yeah. But it has been a game changer.
Yeah. Well, it's your intention, man. You're putting your calendar where your mouth is. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I'm putting where my priorities are in there. Like I missed, like I couldn't tell you, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I couldn't remember the last time, because one of my focuses is family.
Yeah.
So when I have family, I'm like, what does that mean to me? And to be honest with you, and I'm embarrassed to say this, like I've missed my father's birthday for as long as I can remember. Guess what? He's on my calendar.
Right.
It's visible.
Yep.
Now that it's visible,
Yeah.
I see it every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what are we going to do for my dad's birthday? What are we going to do for my dad's birthday? It will not be missed again. So these important
Great example.
events and focuses don't get missed.
Yeah. Well, think about some of the words that you just used in that example. You talked about making things simple, focus, priority. I can distill my life down to 5 things. Like that is a pattern of high performance.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about well-capitalized startups to Fortune 500 companies, when you see patterns of effective leadership, it's leaders, founders, CEOs who can say that.
Yeah.
You and I have said this often, right? If you can't explain your business simply, you don't know it well enough, right? And this is another example of you being able to distill down to what matters most.
Yes.
Where can you direct your time, your energy, and your resources? Why is that so relevant? Because now across so many different brands at Huffman Family Brands, your leaders, they are picking up what you're putting down, right? They're watching.
Yep.
They're seeing what you're modeling, right? And so you being a constant learner and then you being able to distill down to what's most important is one of the reasons why we're talking about multiple companies now.
Chris, as I was talking Saturday, we had a commitment to go to the Kennedy Krieger Gala. And it was what, -7 degrees.
Yeah.
Dawn's like, honey, I don't feel like going. I'm like, baby, I don't feel like going either, but we're going.
Yeah.
We have to go.
Yeah.
That's who we are.
Yeah.
This is important to us. So we went. It was so cool. But I was just thinking that there was a lady there. I won't mention her name. She's a very dear friend of mine. And we were joking around, and she said to Dawn, she says, when I first met your husband, I thought he was full of shit. And I looked at her, she goes, but now I know he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And I thought, well,
wait a minute, back up.
What? Like, I always knew I was the real deal. But I say that, and because I think what she meant by that is that he's the real deal, that this is important to him.
Right.
And that I've proven that philanthropy and giving back to our communities is one of my pillars.
100%.
And so when you're committed to making those things happen, it's not am I going?
Yeah.
It's when are we going?
We're going.
We're going.
Yeah.
And so that kind of, I forgot to tell you that.
Yeah,
Like, she's
that's
like,
a funny
I thought
story.
your husband was full of shit when I first met him, but now I know he's the real deal, meaning how committed he is.
100%. And this is what I've seen across all the organizations, your family, et cetera. But it goes back to a phrase that you and I talked about earlier today, which is maniacal urgency, right? It's like, if I'm in, I'm in.
Yeah.
Which is why we have to be mindful about how many things we're in on.
Yeah.
Because he who is everywhere is nowhere.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to be, but when you're in, you're in.
You're all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people do you think can be that crystal clear on what's important to them?
You know, it's interesting, man, because I think it's one of two things. I think that you're intrinsically, that's who you are. Like, I think in your case, this is who you are. I think you were born this way, intrinsically clear, intrinsically focused, intrinsically able to see things that maybe other people can't see, patterns. But then there's also leaders that can learn that. It's a learned skill, because in some cases they haven't been exposed to that, or maybe that wasn't in their DNA, but through mentorship, through life experience, they've built that into their arsenal. But not many people have that ability to see the world clearly, to see priority clearly, to see strategic plan clearly, to see their family office clearly. It is special, but that is one of the systems, and we talk about systems a lot, and you have really, 2025, if there's one word that I would use to describe the Huffman Family Brands, the Huffman Family Office in 25, it's that you brought the word and the reality of systems into this family office, into these family brands. And I think that was a huge push and a huge transformation in 2025.
Where'd that come from?
Well, you know, I remember.
It's so good, right?
Well, it's so good. I remember where we were when you told me about it, but I can't remember right now at this very moment where where the crystallization for you came from. But man, just like you described, when you're in, you're in. When you started talking about systems, it was about systems.
Yeah.
And then it forced me to step back and look across our portfolio of clients and the thousands of businesses that we work with over the years. And we're like, okay, let's look at the patterns of high performance here. How can we equate real systems, right? These systems that are well architected, well created with clear metrics, clear mission, clear steps. How many of those organizations that were consistently successful did they really abide by a system, right? And then you start to pare it down to the best of the best.
Yeah.
The best of the best have systems in place that allow them to win repeatedly.
Yep. And most of the times, the entrepreneurs or the CEOs aren't even a part of the system,
No, that's right.
or they play a very small part in the system,
That's right. It has
which
to scale beyond that.
which ultimately gives entrepreneurs what they want, which is ultimate freedom.
No doubt. That's the game, right?
Right,
And this
that's
is
the
something
game.
people forget all the time. At the end of the day, what drives the entrepreneur typically is freedom.
Right.
It's autonomy.
Right. Totally.
Yes, there's wonderful things to do with wealth, and yes, a rich, full life, all of that. Yes, 100%. But the core of it is freedom.
Freedom. Totally. I get to do what I want when I want to do it,
Bingo.
with who I want to do it, as much as I want.
Bingo. What's more wealthy than that?
Yeah.
Nothing.
And listen, if that is spending each and every day inside your company and working with others, then you're
Great.
successful,
Yeah.
because you're spending the time where you want to spend your
Right.
time.
100%. So let me ask you about this. So talking about systems, the reason why systems work is because there's these repeatable elements that we can make sure that we go back to successfully perform time and time again, so that it's not just the CEO or the executive leadership team, it's everybody in the organization understands what the systems are.
Yep.
For that to be true and to work, we need to have feedback loops, right? And I heard you talk this morning about creating feedback loops and creating this time compression so that what we learn in the system, we can make it better, we can fix it, right? Tell me a little bit about what you've learned in terms of being able to go where the bottlenecks are and compress the time
Yep.
to fix them.
Well, first, I think it all starts with that mindset, and we've done this since we started the company, which is constant, never-ending improvement.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to have the mindset of constant, never-ending improvement.
Period.
And a lot of companies don't have that. Some of them are arrogant, some of them have egos,
Yeah.
and that never serves the client well.
No.
So I think first of all, we have that mindset of constant, never improvement. I'm always looking for a problem,
Yeah.
or how do we make something better, whether that's a teacher's experience, a child's experience, a franchisee's experience,
Yeah.
right? There's different journeys or different parts of the business that you can focus on. There's 1,000 different pieces of a company that you could focus on
Yeah.
to make it better, but we're constantly always looking for ways to make it better. And then put a strategy in place to make that better.
Right.
And I think here at Celebrate and HFB, we have some of the best systems, tools, process, and as you're saying, Chris, systems
Absolutely.
in place. Now we have to execute
Yeah.
on the strategy with the right people,
Yeah.
and then figure out, rely on them to analyze the system. And as you mentioned, chokeholds or bottlenecks to figure out what is prohibiting us on this journey of expectations that we're not receiving.
Right. Exactly.
And that's why you have to have somebody in place that has that same commitment to say what is holding this journey back.
Yeah.
I'll use a simple example of an enrollment.
Yep.
Right, a family choosing a Celebrate school for their child's program. Like, what journey was that family on? And we think that he or she's on a really, really good journey. That at the end of that journey, when it came from enrollment, to enroll, that they didn't enroll.
Yeah.
So you got to go back, and that's the bottleneck you're looking for.
Yeah.
So we've taken that philosophy across the entire company,
Yeah.
whether that's on HWG, whether that's on the franchise side.
Yeah.
Some of the goals we have on the franchise side is open our schools on time, on budget, and on brand.
Yeah.
Pretty pretty big goal.
Yeah.
And so what is preventing us from opening that school on
Yeah.
time, on budget, and on brand?
Right. Well, and it starts with a question,
It
right?
does.
And therein lies another gap that we see in leadership. Not so here, because we're always willing, within the Huffman family brands, you're always willing to ask the question, what's the root cause? Why is this happening? I just saw it. I just saw it in our last HWG meeting, right?
Yes.
Which is, why are these things happening? Let's get to the root cause so that we can build a better system around it.
Yes.
That's the feedback loop, right?
Yeah.
Go to where it's hot, right? So we can find, and even sometimes it requires that the CEO and founder get on the manufacturing floor.
I've spent
Right?
the last 2 months
Yeah.
doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
Spent probably, I don't know, 15 or 16 schools I visited, and we've identified the chokehold.
Yeah.
We've identified several chokeholds in the business, and now to your point, it is now how do we close that feedback loop?
Right.
on what we have discovered that is holding the business back.
Yeah.
How fast do we, with urgency, how fast do we close the loop?
Right.
And then we move on to the next.
Move on to the next thing. Right. Well, that's what the system is. Elements that are interrelated, working towards a common cause. Right. That's what a system is.
Yeah. And I
so,
want
yeah.
to make sure we're clear, because it's also identifying things that are working very well
Absolutely.
and celebrate them.
Absolutely.
Right. So there's opportunities there, not only on what's broken and what needs to happen in order to fix it, but also what's working really, really well. Can we
Absolutely.
even tweak it a little bit to make it just a little bit better?
Yeah.
But also let's celebrate that.
Yeah. No, and I think
Because that's a win.
That's a win. And it's this maniacal, and I use that in the most loving of ways, right? It's this maniacal urgency, obsession with learning, being better, creating value. At the end of the day, why do these questions matter? Why do we keep squeezing these systems to make them better? We're trying to create value for the franchisee, for the student, for the family, right? It's about creating value. That's why you all do it, right? It's the one of the best mission taglines of all time, right? We grow people big and small.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what you're driving at.
Totally.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
You did. And look, anytime you and I talk about business
Right.
or leadership or we end up going down these different patterns. But
Yeah.
you've shared with me some of the greatest pull-throughs from
Yeah.
25 into 26,
Totally.
right? Which is, let's identify the bottlenecks. Let's make sure the feedback loops are in place so that we're getting good data from those closest to the challenges
Yeah.
or the opportunities, right?
Yeah.
And making sure that we're always putting that back into the systems
Yeah.
where we're learning. And then that creates, look, people want to be affiliated with leaders and with companies that are that kind of culture. It's a culture of learning.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to jump on what you just said, Chris, which is so important, which is that if your leaders, your executive team is not able to find the bottleneck, that requires you to get out of your chair
Mhm.
and go look for yourself.
Mhm.
Because most people don't see what you see. Everybody sees things differently.
That's right.
So, my value, everybody's value, your value is your perspective
Yeah.
of this. So that's why, over the last 2 months, Allison and I, our chief operating officer here, has spent every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday out visiting schools
Yeah.
to look for bottlenecks. Look
Yeah.
for, in all fairness, look for things that are working really, really well,
Right.
and things that need to be improved.
100%. And that's not just a tactical strategic plan element. That's a mindset.
Yeah.
You got to want that, right?
Totally.
And sometimes it requires a little bit of a change in mindset,
Yeah.
for those within the organization, which is, here, I'm trying to model this for you.
Yeah.
That, look, if I'm the chief executive and I'm still trying to get better,
Yeah.
right? I'm still trying to find the value creation optimization. I expect everybody else to as well.
The mindset that I've recently, and I felt trapped trapped to this, which is that, well, that's why I have a COO, and that's why I have a franchise business consultant. I have all these folks that are in positions to see those bottlenecks.
Right.
So I'm gonna wait and rely on them to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's a big mistake.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of the story that you and I have shared just recently, which is Andy Grove, who was the CEO of Intel during Intel's greatest years. And he wrote some very interesting books on management. But he is famous for this one particular story. And this underscores your point, Richie. things were not working effectively within accounts payable. Okay. In the accounting and finance arm of Intel, which was a global multi-billion-dollar company. And so the CEO, Andy Grove, said, I'm going to go to the core. I'm going to go where it's hot. I'm going to go right to the factory floor, so to speak.
Yeah.
He went into the accounts payable team and he would look around the room and say, guys, where's my money? And not in a way that was
very simple question.
Very simple question. Like, where's my money? And so the question was not to, to bully them into it. It was like,
give
tell me why. Yeah. Where's my money?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Well, I didn't think I was able to. Well, why? Like, get to the root cause.
Right.
So I love that
or
because
I didn't
you
know this was
literally
important
just did
to you.
that.
But now when the CEO step comes into the department and says, where's my money?
Yeah.
It's highly important.
Yeah. Where's my money? Yeah. Like you're going to snap to attention. You're going to think about that maybe a little bit more critically than you did before.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. And my comment of get out of the chair and go look for yourself, it applies in so many different other aspects of life. I was just thinking like, if you don't go to the gym, nobody can help you with your health. I used to have a belief, and it was a horrible belief, and you can start believing your own, limiting beliefs after a while, and you got to be aware of them, right? I used to believe that, that Dawn would take care of that, right? Dawn would create those special moments. Dawn would create the romance in our relationship. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting for her to do that.
Yeah.
She's waiting and waiting and waiting for me to do that.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So, if you want something to happen, you got to take the first step.
Yeah.
Go look at it yourself. You start with the first sign of romance, the little things.
Yeah.
And then what you'll find is then they'll figure out this is important to you, and then they'll start delivering the same expectations, I guess, that you're asking for.
That is incredibly important perspective for people to really cling on to. Okay. You just said something that gets missed all the time in operational, not only relationships, but in operational performance. It starts within. It always starts with you, especially if you're in leadership. It always starts with you, right?
Yeah.
And what you're reminding us all in this very moment is go within first. Check yourself. Are you stepping into this situation with the right energy, with the right self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
You take the first step. You lean in, right? And that is an encouragement that is too often lost.
Yeah,
for sure.
And sometimes when your team's looking for these chokeholds or these bottlenecks, Chris, like they're giving you the information that they're giving you is normally not the right information. And with the information, because you're asking them to solve a problem or help me with the solution to this problem, you'll realize when you go out and look for yourself, the problem's not as big as you think it is. And the schools, in this example, or business, isn't as bad as you thought it was.
Yeah.
Meaning, like our schools, let's say we have a school and it's not ramping up or enrolling the way it's supposed to be. The school is still beautiful.
Right. Right.
The school is still giving a great experience to the other, 70 children. Is there 100 children enrolled this school as we project it? No.
Yeah.
But there's still a beautiful school that's providing an amazing, high-quality experience for 70 other children.
Yeah, no question.
And so there's so much value in just getting up out of the chair and going and looking for yourself.
Yeah, no question about it. And I think that is part of the modeling of the behavior and the mindset that has to permeate all of the different organizations, right? Yeah. And that is a commitment. It's a commitment.
Yeah. If we go back to what you started by saying, the system.
Yeah.
The system will not fully function the way it's supposed to until you give it all you have. Yeah. Right? Until you go out there and you validate and you work with this team that is also ultimately responsible for the system. Right. How are they going to figure out on their own? Yeah. They're not. Yeah. Even the best teams, the best leaders always have a coach. Yeah.
Absolutely true.
They all have a coach, right? Even if in a sports analogy, I mean, you have an offense and a defense coach. You would think that the defense knows what they're doing. Yeah. Well, then why they need a coach?
Right, exactly. No, it's great. And here we are coming off a Super Bowl Sunday, right? It's a perfect metaphor. And Bill Walsh, the famous Super Bowl winning coach a couple times over for the 49ers, said, champions behave like champions before they are champions.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're looking for those people. We're trying to pull people up
Yeah.
that demonstrate that willingness to learn, that want to be better,
Yeah.
that are willing to give that discretionary effort, right? To win, to be, like you said, the system won't be optimized until you give it your all.
Yes.
So we're trying to find those people because, boy, that they are worth their weight in gold.
If not, it's going to be a very long year.
Yeah, no question about
Right.
it. But you're creating environments. It's like you were using the sports metaphor again here.
Mhm.
You need to have the feedback loops in the locker room. We need to be able to talk and be like, okay,
Yeah.
where's the focus? Where can we be better? What should I be accountable for?
Yeah.
Guys, where do I need to be better?
Yeah.
If that's not existing, it may take us longer to get to the root cause.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, unlike business, the coach can't go out there and play the position.
Yeah. Right. That's a good point.
Sometimes we try that.
That's a good point.
Right. Sometimes we go out there and we try to play that position.
Yeah.
I have to remind Allison all the time, you're not the FBC.
Yeah. Right.
Stop playing that role.
Yeah.
No. Be an observer of the play
That's good counsel.
and of the person, and give them good coaching.
Right.
Don't play the role. If you want a role model, that's great. I'm not saying that.
No. I think that's right.
But you got to be coaching as you're role modeling to
Yeah.
make sure they get it, and so that you're not just playing the position.
Right. No, that's really well said, and it's something that you and I have talked about. We can't scale Richie, but we can scale Richie's mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
And we can put a really good system in place, as you're
Yeah, that's
saying,
right.
with all the right philosophies and the right
Yeah.
tools and processes
Yeah.
that people understand and can execute on.
Right. And I think it goes back to also something you said. We often have to be a coach to help people see things that they maybe haven't seen yet, or an ability that they haven't seen yet. We might say to them, "Hey, why do you think it's going to take us this much time? Why not half that time?
Yeah.
Why not?"
Yeah.
Right. And it's not. It might not be the competence of that
Never
individual.
thought of it that
Never
way.
thought of it that way.
Yeah,
Right?
totally.
And that's what a coach does. Coach helps people see things in themselves that they might not have seen yet.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. Dawn knows me better than I know myself.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so many examples, we don't want to hear their opinion. I've learned to listen to her opinions because they're vital now
Yeah.
because I've got a little bit wiser. But she's my coach.
Yeah.
I
100%.
don't see myself.
Yeah.
I do go home at the end of the day and reflect on my day and how I behaved, and did I
Yeah.
show up the way I wanted to show up? Did I
Yeah.
deliver and speak the way I wanted to speak? But
Yeah.
she's watching me constantly.
Yeah. What was that phrase you used this morning? Lead with a loving heart? Is that what
Lead
was
with
it?
a healthy heart.
Lead with a healthy heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you and this applies to business, right?
Yeah.
But
Oh, absolutely.
Listen, it's character.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, Dawn and I just got back from this marriage retreat, and I guess some of the great families we were with, and I learned something from every single
Mm-hmm.
couple there.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the big things I took away was my good friend Jimmy Page. He said that every morning he wakes up, he says to his wife, "Is there anything I can do for you today?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Why would you ask that? She's going to give you all these resources. like you got your own agenda." And
Yeah,
like that was
yeah.
just my mindset.
Sure.
And he says 9 out of 10 times, Richie, she says, "No, honey, I'm good."
Mm-hmm.
And so, but what that does for her and for him is to know for her that you care, not that you care about me, but
Sure.
you're asking about
Yeah.
me, right? I guess you care about me. Of course, they know we care about them, but it's just another way. And 9 out of 10 times they'll say nothing.
Yeah.
Like I'm good, baby.
Yeah.
But just the overall asking goes such a long way.
Yeah.
And I think that applies to business too.
Yeah.
And then my good friend John
Absolutely.
Bishop said that one of his thoughts is that he always says, "Am I leading with a healthy heart?"
Yeah.
And there's so much in that, and that healthy heart could be, your personal,
Sure.
definition of it, but and there's a lot of biblical principles in there of, love your neighbors, you love
Mhm.
yourself, and
Mhm.
be respectful, and all
Yeah.
the above.
Yeah.
So, and it's so funny because that night I didn't have a conversation with a healthy heart,
Mhm.
and as soon as I hung the phone up,
Yeah.
my wife said to me, "Well, that wasn't a healthy heart."
Mhm.
I was like, "Yeah, you're right, honey."
Yeah.
And so I called that person back or sent them a text message and said, "Hey, I didn't like the way that call went," meaning
Yeah.
I didn't like the way I behaved on that call.
Yeah.
and asked if we could reconnect tomorrow, which we did. And I apologized for my behavior. And at the end of that conversation, I led with a healthy heart.
And that is a powerful, powerful message for all to hear from CEOs and from executive leadership, which is owning your own learning, your own opportunities for better, putting your learning into practice. This is invaluable, and it's real powerful. This is more powerful than any other behavior you could probably demonstrate.
Yeah.
Is pulling through some of those lessons into business. Both of those things are incredibly transferable to business, right? Like the power of that question, what can I do for you today?
Yeah.
Like the power of that from the founder, the CEO, to other members of the team, incredibly meaningful and substantive.
Yeah. I think as a leader, and I know I've gone through this, it's like you want to, I don't know what I guess I do know what it is. It's like you spend so much wasted energy, and it's just total waste of energy on trying to prove that you're right.
Yeah.
And it's such a waste of time.
You're right, man.
It's such a waste of time. It really does nothing for the organization. It does nothing for the person. Best case scenario, there is no best case scenario.
Yeah, you're right.
Most of the times it's demoralizing to the other person.
Yeah.
And at the end of that conversation, a real good person that's leading with a healthy heart, it didn't feel good to them either.
Right. You're right.
So neither one wins,
Yeah.
and it's a total waste of energy.
No, you're right.
I think
man.
just, listening and trying to hear, and this is where the learning happens, the other person's perspective of their view of this. And you can ask that and you can dig that out with other follow-up questions,
No
because sometimes their first answer, they just made it up.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think that's where a good, healthy conversation happens, where we both could ask each other questions on why do you think that, or why do you believe that, or where'd you get that from?
Yep.
And that's a really healthy.
That's a very healthy
conversation.
feedback loop.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
For our system,
Yeah.
100%. And I think that also speaks to something that we talked about earlier today: simplifying, deleting, like getting rid of the extraneous.
Yeah.
We talked about this a few months ago. You spoke to a larger group back in September about canceling the noise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting to the root.
Yeah.
Right. So that we don't waste time.
And a lot of that noise is found outside of those 5 things that we talked about: friends, family. Like that's my pillars. That's my they're my foundations.
Right on.
But I sometimes I would take it to the extreme, where the only thing I wanted to hear was the wealth pillar, and the only thing I wanted to hear was my business pillar,
Right.
and I was really not engaging, or found it being noise in the other pillars. And so I've gotten a lot better at that.
Well, no question on that one. But also, I think what it represents, as you so easily and readily knock out those 5 pillars, you're like, these are the things that are most important. What that shows is that discipline has created freedom for you.
Yes, totally.
That discipline of those 5 things,
Totally.
right, has created such freedom for you, autonomy for you,
Yeah.
being able to direct your highest and best against the most important things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said freedom. I'd also, and this is probably a word I don't normally use, and not even sure where it's coming from, but it brings comfort in those, and that's not a word or that's not a feeling that I seek out.
Yeah.
But, in all the chaos, I can go through my 5 pillars and do an assessment.
Right on.
Right? How am I doing with my finance? How am I doing with my friends? How am I doing with my faith? How am I doing with my fitness? And if I can check and give myself a pretty good high rating in those, then the rest, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. It's a good feeling.
I'm going to be okay.
That's
So
a rich feeling.
Right? And when you said freedom, like that's the freedom I think that discipline gives you.
Absolutely.
Focus and discipline gives you that freedom to only have emotions behind the things that actually just matter to you.
there's a lot of power in that. I think if there's something that anybody would hang their hat on from this conversation today and really get immediate value from it, there's a lot. But if there's only one, that might be it.
Well, Chris, I want to thank you. Listen, you always bring out the best in me, brother.
Amen.
So
Iron sharpens iron, brother. Likewise.
I appreciate our time spent together today.
Thank you, Richie.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to Enrich Your Empire. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn at Richie Huffman Celebrate. We've got more great episodes lined up for you, so check back with us soon. Till then, stay inspired, stay driven, and keep building your empire.